Hello and welcome to the Engerati studio here at the Lisbon edition of the Investor Days, and there are many other interviews, so by now you'll know what we're talking about. We're talking about energy efficiency here today, and I'm joined now by Mattia Vecchi, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Innowatio, which is an Italian company, I gather, right?
It's an Italian-based company, but
Right.
active not only in Italy.
Okay. And after this whole long day, you're the first ESCO that I'm talking to, which is absolutely great, because let me frame the first question then. Because we've had a lot of people talking about project finance, a lot of people talking about some of the regulation issues. It seems to me that some of the regulation issues are adjustments rather than big fundamental moves, but again, that's my view. You feel free to disagree with that. But what I really want to explore, because in order for the food chain to be complete, you as an ESCO, and I know your company does other things, but let's focus on that side of things.
Right.
You as an ESCO need to be completing the food chain by getting customers to come and talk to you. So can you give us a real world experience of that final interface layer between that makes this whole thing work? What are you seeing there?
Okay, I think that the most important thing is to divide between the industrial sector, the commercial and public administration sector. Because when you talk about the industrial sector, you probably can have a huge consumption, so a huge possibility of efficiency and a huge return of the investment you can do. So why I tell that? Because
so they're in the sweet spot, effectively, to use my words. That is where everybody wants to sell to those guys.
I don't know, because when you go to the industrial guys, you find two things. The core business, that most of the time is quite efficient, and there's some jealousy. They do not let you touch it. If I go to a steel factory and I say, can I control or make efficiency on your oven? They say, please do not touch it. So you have to go to the ancillary services, and you can find a lot of possibilities of efficiency with great returns. And so you can invest sending there people, engineers, I don't know, 2, 3 of them, in order to do the audit that, as you know, is the first step. And most of the time is not remunerated. So it's an investment that the ESCO does. You find good possibilities for efficiency, you do the project. I'm not interested in how to finance it. There are a lot of ways to do it. And this is one thing. When you go to the commercial sector or the public administration, everything changes. Because first, we're not talking anymore about energy costs that are in the industrial sector around, I don't know, can reach 30% of the production cost. In a supermarket, in a mall, the energy cost is more or less 1%. So there's a lower attention to that. And obviously more space, more room for efficiency. But there is a problem. You cannot send to small consumers the previous 3 engineers for 3 weeks.
So there's a scale issue.
Absolutely. You cannot do it because the investment will never return, or there's a high risk that it will never return. So, and this is the tertiary sector is really big all over the world. So there's a lot of things that should be done there. But costs and revenues grow together. So there is one problem, that is scalability. How to solve it? With the new frontier, this is the most important thing I see in the future of the ESCOs, is digitalization.
Right. So this is where, let's not spend too much time on it, IoT and things like that come into play, because
This is the answer. Right. IoT is the answer. because IoT is cheaper and cheaper. We're talking about devices in order to measure not only electricity but also other environmental variables as CO2, humidity, temperature, and so on.
So let me play this back to you. So you would have a business model, and this is me blue skying, right? But I just do this so that I understand what it is you're saying. You could potentially have something where someone signs up, you send them a DIY pack. You know, back in the early days of cable, an engineer had to come out to collect your router. Now they just send you the thing with 3 instructions and say
Absolutely.
wire it yourself. So you'd have a similar type of thing. Why put this sensor on your roof, put this sensor on the side, put that on your fridge, and
but we can also send our people, I don't know, to a supermarket to install this stuff. It's half an hour, okay? So the investment, it's absolutely another thing. Then you begin to receive information from the field. But let's put for a moment in the mind, in the shoes of the consumer. He's saying, okay, but why should I let you put all these devices in my shop? Why? In my pizza store? Because we're talking about this size, also this size. Because I give you back enhanced information. You give me your information, your raw information. I give you back enhanced information. What's that? Tips, alarms. So something that, like the Fitbit or
exactly,
the
yeah.
okay. So begins to send you back enhanced information, and is the first level of service. Then you can say to the same guy, okay, look, I've seen your information, I've seen your data, I can do more, I can control some of your devices, of your loads. For example, air conditioning. Typically, air conditioning in a department store, the set point is flat. It's always the same. The change of the air is always the same. 3 times per hour, something like this. It's not related to, how many people in that moment are inside the store. If you measure, for example, CO2 or other systems that you already find in that place, you can understand and control remotely the HVAC, so the air conditioning, in a dynamic way.
Right.
We did it for the department store chain in Italy. They are something more or less 900 stores, so it's a good number. And receiving the information, controlling remotely the air conditioning, granting comfort, because you have to ensure that the comfort
so
will
there's
be
an operating envelope, right?
absolutely.
So
there's a range.
Yeah,
You
so
can move inside the range.
Yeah.
But doing this, we obtained a saving of 30% without any human there. Without
Saving
any
of 30%. Give us a number. What's that number? Can you tell us the order of magnitude? Millions?
Well, it depends on how many stores you serve.
Right.
Sure.
But the
But
potential
30% of saving is a really good number without sending there anyone. So with really low investments. And then receiving third level, receiving all this information, we can understand where there are serious, let me say, opportunity of investments for efficiency. And so you go straight to the one that need efficiency. And then you come back to the, let's say, traditional efficiency methodology. So you send at that moment you send out the engineer, because you say, guys, I've seen your consumption, you need a new rooftop. So let's talk about the investment in order to have this new rooftop or a cogeneration machine or something like that.
But you start with this Trojan horse of censoring the place in a low investment way in order for you to build the platform that brings back the data, that allows you to build trust with the client on one level.
Yeah.
Because suddenly they trust you. So you've done this little thing, and hang on a minute, you've given us 30%. So now we trust you. So then you can go on and do other things, right?
Yeah. So the first level, information, or better, information for enhanced information for a really cheap fee. Okay. Then the remote control for another kind of fee, but sharing the saving with the customer. And as I told you, the saving could be really important, because I don't know, 1,000 stores, the possibility they pay a bill of 1 million per year, 30% of 1 million.
It's not a bad number, right?
Not a bad number.
Yeah.
And if you think about all the supermarkets, the stores, the shops, and so on all over Europe, we're talking about a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of energy and a lot of money.
And especially as that particular sector, the margins are constantly being eroded, right? The amount of money they make on the produce and everything through competition, it's tiny.
Absolutely.
So you suddenly say, hang on a minute, I can save 30% of one of your bottom line items. That gets people interested.
Absolutely. But if they don't are interested after 3 months, they say, okay, you're giving me unuseful tips. Okay, give me back my devices. There's no problem
Or
at
keep
all.
it.
Or keep it.
Yeah.
Or keep it. There's no problem. We talk devices each can cost 10 euros, something like this. This is the only way, in our opinion, to let the energy efficiency business to be scalable.
So what's the problem?
Sorry?
So what's the problem?
The problem.
Because everybody, so I asked that question not to be facetious, but everybody's talking to me. Oh, we've got an issue here. We've got this and so on, and we've got an event here that's talking about it. There must still be some disconnect. There must still be some problem that's trying to solve, or are again people not thinking about it the wrong way? Because you're talking in a very customer-centric way.
Yeah.
So is there still an issue, or is there still a problem, or is it just a case of this is how we need to approach it, and people are not thinking about building a platform, low investment, getting data, and so on?
I think the problem could be competition, because to be the first mover is really important, because the winner takes it all. Is absolutely true. And competition is not coming only from the energy companies, because with the Internet of Things, that is not a solution, just an enabler. We're putting together two things: the traditional way to consume energy, so copper, okay, with ICT. So companies that see this as the future of the energy efficiency can come from both ways: energy companies, ICT companies.
That's true. Yeah.
I would not be surprised if one day or another Google should step into this market.
Well, they bought Nest for a reason. I mean,
why? In my opinion, is this. This is the reason. They are putting the foot inside the houses.
well, if they really thought like that, they'd drop the price point of Nest, though. They'd give it away.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's not talk about Google too much, but your point is made. It's coming from both directions.
Yeah.
So as we're coming sort of to the end of our time then, so am I right in saying to you that what you're saying, the only thing that's stopping us from unlocking and releasing this potential value in this market that goes all the way down to the news shop round the corner is this digitization of data, to be able to get the right data in the hands of the right people to be able to provide a service back?
Yeah, absolutely. And there is another thing. Energy efficiency usually treat the kilowatt hour. We're not talking anymore about kilowatt hour, we're talking about comfort. It's another thing.
And that's a whole different conversation.
Absolutely. And the customer do not understand kilowatt hour. but perfectly understand comfort.
Listen, I'm in the energy sector. I don't understand kilowatt hours. so, so, I mean, I know what it is.
I'm a lawyer. I spent several years trying to understand the difference between kilowatt and kilowatt hour.
I know what it is, but I don't understand what it means. I think you're absolutely right. I think on that note, we should leave it. So just a takeaway point, comfort is the key metric here.
Yeah, it is.
Excellent. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure
thank you.
talking to you. Thanks.